the Bruno Fernandes agenda. So people think I have a Bruno Fernandes agenda. I want to get my real thoughts across on Bruno because it's very hard for me in comments and live streams of other channels to really get my point across. Firstly, I don't dislike Bruno. I think there's no doubt he wants to do well for the club. He works hard and he does create and score goals for us. He is not the number one problem. We all know that, but he is currently a massive problem to deal with in this squad. Amorim has already said that when he's in the 10, he's too long ball. And when he's in the 6, he's putting him there for legs and energy. So where does this leave Bruno Fernandes as a long-term fit in this team? He's now been a mainstay at Manchester United with the likes of Rashford and a few others in the team for the last 3 full-time managers now and a few interims. He is an issue in the side and the results do not change with him in the side. We still lose all of the time. The narrative from this weekend against Forest is that we were worse when he came off the pitch. But I would like to remind people that we were 3-1 down with him on the pitch and 3-2 down when he came off the pitch. And yes, he scored the second. But we were all over the place as a team before Bruno went off. And we were all over the place as a team before Bruno went off. The subs made little to no difference at the weekend. And moving on more on the narrative of we are better or worse without Bruno, is there's a lot of people that protect Bruno Fernandes for the 4-0 loss to Palace when he didn't play. I would like to point out that other 30 games or so we've lost by 3 or more while he has been playing, including some huge defeats, 7-0 at Liverpool, conceded 6 twice at City and Spurs. We've conceded 5 versus City a second time, and we've conceded 4 goals against teams like Brentford, Brighton and Watford. And there has been countless other 3-0 drubbings while he has been a mainstay and playing 90 minutes for probably nearly all of those games. And I'm not hating on Bruno, but he is the captain of Manchester United and should be held in higher regard. When Harry Maguire was captain, the fan base put him on a pedestal for performance. And he was torn to pieces as Man United captain for performances that were no worse than the current Manchester United team with Bruno as captain. Why are we not as critical of Bruno as captain as we were when Harry Maguire was? Surely fair is fair as a Manchester United captain. Why is Bruno Fernandes never rotated? The evidence isn't there that we are better with him. One game against Palace is not enough. 25 minutes at the weekend is not enough to say that the team is better with him, without him. I worry we're going to see another manager die on the sword of Bruno Fernandes. Amorim's now played 5 games, won 2, drawn 2 and lost 1. Bruno has played all the games. Why do we think that the results would have been worse with him not playing? The results are already poor with him playing every game. I just want to see Bruno Fernandes in the rotation. I'm not saying never play him, but why is he the one player that plays every game when his performances are most of the time average? Mazwari, De Ligt and Ahmed all this season have arguably had much better seasons than Bruno Fernandes and are still in the rotation, both under Erik ten Hag and Amorim. It surely can only be him being captain or because he's got energy. It cannot all be based on quality with Bruno Fernandes. I'm trying to clear up the fact that everyone probably thinks I've got an agenda against Bruno, but I haven't. The fact is he should be treated the same as every other player and rotated based on performance, which over the last two seasons has not been good enough. Because he's a fan favourite, he's allowed to get away with things other players would do in a game and be crucified for. But because he comes up with one great pass in 90 minutes, the other 85 minutes are forgotten about by the fan base. For example, Forest at the weekend, if Casemiro makes that pass, the fan base would want him out of the club in an instant. But because it's Bruno Fernandes, they say, oh yeah, Bruno played a bad pass, but it's all Onana's fault. And what I'm getting at is he seems to be allowed to make these huge mistakes, be out of position, make bad passes, bad decisions, bad basics and bad set pieces, but there's no consequence for it from the fan base or the club. It's about time we woke up to the fact that whatever you think of Bruno Fernandes, he needs time on the bench. And we need to see if the squad can work better without him. I'm not outing Bruno, but we need to see something new. And how do we move on as a club when we continue with the same failings game in, game out? With rotation, the spotlight will be off Bruno. Week in, week out, we see a true picture of the squad without him, and if there is a position for him moving forward in the squad. Until we see this evidence, then this will continue with poor results with Bruno on the pitch, and this continuous Bruno bashing agenda and narrative will continue. We need to see the same treatment for Bruno as we've seen with Rashford, that he's left out for games and we see where we are as a club without him. Because right now we need change and we need to see something different from Bruno Fernandes.